John Gottman mentions the Zeigarnik effect and how it relates to connection and relationships in his book, What Makes Love Last. Russian psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik studied waiters in a Viennese cafe handling large orders without writing them down. Later, once the sale was completed, she interviewed them about what was ordered. Each waiter could not recall any orders they filled. She found that we have a better recall for events that we have not completed than when we have. Gottman used this research to show when we have not dealt with a problem directly, we can ruminate on unfinished business and it affects the connection we have with ourselves and others. When we do not deal with a problem directly in fear of confrontation and uncomfortable feelings, we may start to rely on assumptions. Assumptions are the thief of peace. According to Harriet Lerner, the problem is that when we are low in facts and when important issues stay underground, we are high on fantasy and emotionality, anger included. For many of us, we may jump to conclusions, often thinking of the worst case scenario. Greek philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's the act of the ill-instructed man to blame others for his own bad condition. It is the act of one who has begun to be instructed to lay blame on himself, and of one whose instruction is completed neither to blame another nor himself." He believed that external events are beyond our control and individuals are responsible for their own actions. So what's the feeling behind unfinished business? Well, it's good old anger. If you feel anger, oftentimes in different situations at the same person can mean you have unfinished business. Anger is such an important feeling to work with. It is invaluable, although it gets a bad rap. Because it has negative implications, most of us are afraid to express it. Many of us will feel angry and then rationalize to ourselves how it was wrong to feel angry. By doing this, you are stuffing your feelings only for it to resurface in a different scenario. Understanding what anger is trying to tell you can help empower you to take the risk of completing unfinished business. Anger signals that a boundary is violated. In order to empower ourselves, we need to have strong boundaries. When boundaries are violated, that violation needs to get addressed. Does this mean we attack it head on and our emotions are heightened? Many of us have discovered through trial and error that most times we don't accomplish anything during these moments. When we get angry, our heart rates increase. When our heart rate is increased, we no longer can think with a clear head. During those times, we are wanting to be right and wanting to change another person. This isn't realistic, and you leave finding fault in others, losing sleep, or complaining, just to name a few. The result of those actions is a lack of joy and disconnection with others and yourself. A coping skill I teach in therapy is to take a time out during these moments and revisit the anger when your heart rate has stabilized. When boundaries are violated, your needs are not being met. In my practice, I like to share the angry iceberg with my clients. In an iceberg, you only see the tip as it floats above the water. Underneath all that anger, you could be feeling embarrassed, offended, insecure, disrespected, uncomfortable, or dismissed. All of those feelings are legitimate if you feel them. Those are buttons that other people can push that need to be addressed. However, many of us, including myself, are guilty for sometimes just letting people see the anger instead of using iMessages to express that a button was pushed. If you use an angry tone and raising your voice, it isn't as effective getting your message across. If you can begin to practice expressing the primary emotion to your anger, you can begin to feel connection with others. If we embrace the discomfort anger causes, we can begin to complete expressing what we need, so we can move on and let go of resentments. There are many versions of the angry iceberg online, and it could be helpful to look through it during conflict resolution. Using anger as a roadmap to help us navigate through our unfinished business makes it more productive than ruminating on angry thoughts. Either way, we can get ugly, but the latter helps us become better problem solvers and create dialogue. Anger helps us begin to understand what our boundaries are so we can feel anchored in knowing what we are okay and not okay with. The next time you feel anger, see if you can understand the reason behind your anger and a boundary you can set for yourself.